Hi everyone, thanks for watching. I'm Lauren from Guthrie and Ganny, and in this video I'll be sharing with you the live recording of the sewing and dressmaking and fabric themed question and answer session that I did on the Instagram platform on Monday the 13th of March 2023. So I'm going to be answering lots of questions that have been sent in beforehand, asking for different tips and advice about dressmaking projects, and then I've also got lots of sewing and pattern combination, sewing pattern and fabric combination requests as well. So I've got loads of beautiful fabrics out from my shop to show you. As always, they're all available on the website, and the link to that will be in the description to this video. If you're watching here on YouTube and you do want to ask me a question that I can cover in a future session, feel free to leave a comment on the video. You can also call or email the shop as well, and I can add it onto my list. So I'm going to switch over to the live session now. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you soon. Hi everyone, good evening. Welcome to Monday night, 13th of March, this week's live Q&A from the shop floor with all of these lovely fabrics that are around me that I'm going to be showing you tonight and chatting to. Oh, I've got lots of sirens in the background. Hello Mosley, Monday night. Thanks for joining everyone, it's lovely to see you, and I hope you've had a really nice weekend and we're okay in the snow last week if you had some snow here in the UK. We're not really that good at snow, are we? It's a little bit of a panic station, but we're all fine now. Exciting deliveries have been arriving. One in particular for the birthday party event, which is only, I can't believe it's only 2 weeks on Saturday. It's our birthday party event. So yeah, the 1st of April already, 2 weeks on Saturday. So yeah, everything's all going to plan with that. We've had some successful deliveries, which has been good. And there's currently a bit of a sew-a-thon going on, getting everything ready, lots of samples and things. So yeah, if you didn't see the little sneak peek of the new fabric print last night in my reel that I posted, then you can check that out, and then all of the sneak peeks so far are all on the blog post as well that's about the event, so you can always check that out if you need more information. The other exciting delivery that came today, which was a little bit unexpected, I didn't realise it was coming actually today, but it did, which is fine, is more fabric for the Avery that we used in the Avery legging kits when we did that, the Helen's Closet Avery legging kits. We did that as a kit, I think it was around about this time last year actually, and we got a jersey made especially for us that was to sort of the specification that we wanted it to be for the leggings. It's a medal jersey and it's knitted and dyed here in the UK, and it's also low pill as well, so it's something to do with the way that the fibres are spun, makes it low pill, makes it really good for making leggings. Those of you that managed to get the Avery legging kit will know. So we do now have that fabric back again. It will be back online maybe tomorrow, it might be Wednesday. So I'll put it on stories, or I'll pop it on Instagram when it's available again. But yeah, a lot of people were always asking me about that legging fabric. It's obviously good for other legging patterns as well. The Megan Nielsen Virginia leggings, another example. You know, there are other legging patterns out there, but yeah, it is a really good fabric for leggings, so that's back. A few people have mentioned my top. This was the By Hand London Marie shirt that we did as a kit last summer, in our Chica Cheetah print in the teal, which we don't have any left of. It was in the kit and it's all gone, I'm afraid. But the reason I'm wearing it is because I'm just planting a little seed in your head, because the Chica Cheetah print will be back for our birthday party event. You will be able to get your hands on some more Chica Cheetah fabric, but it is it's on a different base cloth. It's not on the Chica Cheetah print will not be on viscose as it was before, but it is coming back, so that's exciting, and I just wanted to wear it to remind me to tell you that, and also just get you a little bit excited about that as well. I love the fabric for the leggings, so soft. What colours this time? It's still just navy and black. It's just the classic one. So because it gets specially made for us, I have to get it in really high quantities. So I can't really get a diverse range of colours, I have to just get what I know are classics for leggings, which is black and navy. So yeah, that's the colours of the leggings fabrics that we'll have. I do have more new fabrics to show you as well, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a quick show of them, and then I'll get on to answering your questions too, and I will try my best to keep up with any questions that you're asking as I chat along tonight as well. I seem to just be getting quite a lot of questions in advance at the moment, so I'm finding it a little bit harder to sort of answer live, but I'll do my best. And yeah, if you did send me a question and it's not on my list, it might just be maybe it was sent too late or something. Add it on to next week. Okay, so the first fabrics that I wanted to show you are all cotton lawn fabrics. So they are a really nice light cotton lawn, you know, it's a nice lightweight woven fabric which is holds its shape really well. It's nice and easy to work with, it presses really easily, so it's good if you're still building up your skills or you're looking for a project where you want the fabric to be lightweight but you want it to just hold its shape and structure a little bit more. It's not going to slip around like Viscose does. So I will hold up all of I do have other prints, some of them are like other colourways of the ones I've got, but I'm going to hold all of these up. You can see the sort of range of different prints that are there, a mixture of some really lovely colourful stuff, and I'll sort of quickly just show you them all here. They are all online already, so you'll be able to find them in the Just Arrived section. This one's actually a black one, so black background with lovely little sort of poppy flowers on it, and we do also have this with a navy background. That's the one I didn't bring over, but it's very similar, but instead of black it's navy if you prefer navy things. And then this one's sort of smaller scale, kind of lovely turquoisey and blues, so that one's really nice too. And then this one's a little bit more kind of pinky. The dark colour here is black as well, so yeah, worth knowing that. So yeah, another quite small scale ditzy one, so good because you don't have to pattern match or anything, which is nice. And then I really like this one. I feel like it's got a bit more of a vintage vibe, this one. What's it called? Summer Flora Pima Cotton Lawn, and it's quite more sort of muted, the colours that are in that one. It's really lovely. So these are all going to be good for like a nice little blouse or a shirt. You could do the one I'm wearing, the By Hand London Marie, Avid Seamstress, the blouse one, the Archer, and anything that's got classic shirt features, a collar stand, button stand, are all good for these types of fabrics because they press so well and they're really nice and easy to control. Lovely little poppies in that one. Again, hopefully you just get an idea of the scale when I'm holding it up here. This one's lovely and summery and also comes with a navy blue background and pink flowers, so it's virtually the same, but just where it's white it's navy. So yeah, a couple of colourways in that one. I would probably say that one's maybe like a little bit more transparent. Better to stick to blouses and tops for this one rather than dresses. And then actually that's a cream colourway of the black one that I showed you at the start, which we also have in navy too. So yeah, 3 colourways of that one there. And then keeping with wovens, I also wanted to show you this one because sometimes these types of fabrics get a little bit lost online, but it's a chambray fabric, so it's like a lightweight denim fabric, and you can see here how sort of floppy and lightweight it is, but it's got this really beautiful embroidered, it's like navy embroidered border. So when you come to use a fabric like this, then you have to just rotate your pattern pieces 90 degrees so that kind of then becomes like the bottom, like that could be the hemline. Or you could also cut it off and use it like as a bit of a trim as well, like maybe you could cut it and gather it a little bit and it could be like a kind of gathered ruffle or like a little peplum, or you know, you could incorporate it into your sleeve as well, so sort of cut out your sleeve so that that's the hem of the sleeve too. So yeah, it just adds a little nice touch to it. The border's only on one side, so the other side of the selvage is just plain. But yeah, just on a nice sort of nice classic lightweight denim. It's really lovely. It's the floral disc embroidered border cotton chambray fabric, 1680 a metre. The next ones I wanted to show you are jerseys. So these two here are both a mix of bamboo and cotton. So they are, so this one is 60, the top one, soft blue botanical stretch bamboo cotton jersey fabric, 1680. It's 67 bamboo, 28 cotton and 5% elastane. And then I'm just wondering if that's the same mix. Yeah, the bottom one is the same mix of fibres. So what happens when you get, it's basically like a t-shirt weight jersey, but when you get that mix of cotton and bamboo, it just gives the fabric, it makes it a little bit more floppy and a little bit more drapey, a bit more swishy. So I think it really works well with sort of like looser styles where you want the fabric to be able to sort of move and drape and swish around a little bit more. So as soon as I saw this fabric, I really pictured the classic core tee. I think it's just called the core tee from Closet Core. It's a free pattern. And it's just a really nice simple t-shirt, but it is a bit looser because sometimes t-shirt patterns can have negative ease or be a lot more fitted. But I feel like because it's a little bit on the sort of thinner side, if it's a very tight fitting t-shirt, I don't know, you might not want it just because it is a little bit thinner. Something that's a bit looser would be nice. So yeah, there's 3 colorways of that one. There's also a pink and a sort of khaki color, I think. And then this one here also comes in other colorways too. We've got a blue and a pink of this one. So this is the chalky cheetah, and this is the green colorway, and it's 16.80 a meter as well. So yeah, they're just really nice when you want. They're probably not as like slippery or moving around as much as the modal or the viscose jersey that we've got, which is very sort of lightweight and drapey. This is a kind of little bit of an in-between. And then these next ones that come in 2 colorways, these are actually a linen mix jersey. So it's 70 cotton and 25% linen. It's the green stipple cotton linen jersey fabric. So yeah, green, and then also a warmer colorway in this one. So those 2 colorways there. So really with this one, because it's got the linen in it, you're getting a little bit more of like natural kind of texture and vibes in it. And if I show you the reverse of it, you'll see that it's all, well, actually you might not because it might be hard for the camera to pick it up, but it's also almost got like, you know, linen's like a little bit slubby or like a little bit textured. It's just got that more sort of like natural earthy texture to it, but then this really lovely print over the top. So yeah, it's like a little bit more stable than the bamboo cotton. You know, it's going to hold its shape a little bit more, but obviously still, you know, nice and stretchy and yeah, nice and lightweight. It's like a t-shirt type weight as well, that sort of jersey. So yeah, those ones. And then finally, the couple of jerseys that I wanted to show you, which are just a bit of fun. We did have some other kids ones in as well. So if you're into kids jerseys, then you can check them out online too. But I just wanted to show you a couple. This really cute cats one. It would be nice for a pair of pajamas as well. Or if you really liked cats, you might just want a cat t-shirt. Totally fine. Also comes with a denim background, so it's sort of marled grey, creamy in the background. Or a denim is the other colourway, and then yeah, just these cute little cats on it, which are having fun and looking cute and happy. Or if you're more of a dog lover, also got something for you. I love these. These are just quite elegant, sort of posh dogs, aren't they? They're just like stretching and sniffing and sitting and looking like really, really sophisticated. And I like the colours in them as well. It's really quite nice muted colours. So yeah. Fun if you like dogs or cats. So yeah, and there are some other more kind of novelty jersey prints as well, so you can see them in the Just Right section. Okay, let me see, could you make a Stasia with that? I suspect you were probably talking about the either the bamboo or the linen ones. Yes, I think you could. I want to make the Hovia jacket. Would I be okay to use different fabrics inside and out, viscose and cotton? The only thing I would say is that when you start washing viscose and cotton, sometimes they can behave quite differently, and it might they might sort of change at different rates as you wash them. So you might just get a little bit of, you know, the quilting that happens might, I don't know. I personally would probably say no, but I'm sure you could do it and it might be all right, but I don't know. I personally probably wouldn't do that. Just so you know, you're a bit pixelated tonight. I've checked other IG lives and they're fine. It might be your internet. I'm sorry about that. It does say I've got full bars in my internet, so I'm not sure why that's happened. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I look pixelated. There's not a huge amount I can do about it right now because the phone that I'm using for the live doesn't have a SIM card in it. It only connects to the internet, so I can't even switch to 5G. Hopefully it gets better. I ordered the cotton lawn, thanks for the birthday code. You're welcome, happy birthday. Okay, so yeah, I'll get on to the questions that were sent in beforehand as well. And hopefully you'll find them inspiring, and it might be that I ask for your input as well, because you know, it's always useful to know your experiences too. Okay, a lot of people are saying it looks fine on the phone, so I'm glad that it's okay and that I'm not pixelated for too many people. Okay, so the first question rather was, the buttons that came with the Marlo cardigan are too big for my brother Otto buttonhole foot, any tips? So yeah, this might be in reference to maybe when we did the Marlo cardigan as a kit about 18 months ago, and the buttons were quite big that we put with it. So what I would suggest that you do is put the buttonhole foot setting that you've got to the biggest setting, and on some scrap that you've got, stitch it so you make the biggest buttonhole that your machine can make, and then sew it, cut it, and then see if the button will go through, because if it's quite close it might get through anyway. If it doesn't, then what you could do is try to, and again I would sort of try and practice this on some scraps, is that you could elongate the buttonhole yourself manually by using a zigzag stitch and changing the settings of it, so making it like a narrow, quite short length zigzag so that it mimics what the buttonhole's got, and then just make it, you know, do two little edges and then make it a wider zigzag to do the bottom bit. It might be easier just to do that rather than do the whole thing potentially with a zigzag stitch, like manually. The other thing to consider is if you really think that you're definitely going to be using the buttonholes, or if they're more just there to make the garment look balanced because it's got buttons on it, so then therefore it needs buttonholes. But if you don't think you'll actually ever wear the cardigan closed and do up the buttons, then potentially you could just make them as big as your machine can, so they kind of look in proportion, but then it doesn't totally matter if your buttonholes don't go in. But yeah, if you do want to close it and you do want your buttons to go through the buttonholes, as I said before, it might be that if you just do it on the biggest one it fits anyway, and if it doesn't you could extend it a little bit with a zigzag stitch. Okay, somebody's said, I hope you have a drink with you tonight. So I do have the dregs of a cup of tea, but I actually brought like a cup of tea in a little flask over with me so that I could drink it just before. But thank you for your concern, that's very kind. Okay, do you have any spring fabric recommendations for the Kelly coat, please? We did the Kelly coat as like a spring jacket a few years ago, and we used our cotton twill. It's like a seven berry Japanese cotton twill fabric, and it worked really nicely. I actually wear that jacket quite a lot in the spring. I've not started wearing it yet, admittedly, because we did have snow last week. But it did work really nicely in that I just did it unlined. I lined the hood with some Liberty fabric just for fun, but it did work nice in that, so you could give that a go. I sewed my buttons on top of a smaller buttonhole which I didn't open up. Good to know. That also another good idea. Okay, the next one was tips for sewing cupro. Cupro is quite a slippy fabric. It moves around a lot, so I would say my usual tips for sewing any sort of slippery fabric is to what I sometimes do if it's really slippery and I'm finding it hard to control is when I come to cut it out and I'm folding it in half, I might pin the selvages together to make sure they stay lined up. And then I'll quite often also try to line up the fold in the fabric or the selvage, like try and line it up with the straight edge of my table, so that basically with the aim of trying to make sure that the threads that have woven the fabric are at 90 degrees to each other, and it's not, the fabric's not sort of squinted or squiff as it's lying on the table, because that can affect accuracy when cutting out. You know, plenty pins, nice sharp scissors. I use the micro serration ones. If you've got that sort of setup, you could use a rotary cutter and a cutting mat, and that can help to sort of keep the fabric a bit still when you're cutting out, and help with accuracy as well. But otherwise there's just lots of pins and extra patience, and you'll get there. The next one was, can I use sewing machine threads in an overlocker? So I would say, yeah, there's no reason why not. Obviously the downside of using like 100 meter reel of Gutermann sew all thread in your overlocker is going to be finished in a flash, especially if you put it in your upper or lower looper, because that obviously uses lots of thread. But what you can do is, if you only have some like neutral kind of general colours for your overlocker, you know, they're going to go with lots of things, maybe a white or a cream and a black or a navy or something, but maybe you're sewing something together and using the overlocker to sew it, as opposed to sewing a seam and then overlocking the raw edges, is that you could just put your regular thread that you would use in the sewing machine in the left hand needle, so that as you stitched it and then you opened up the seam from the front, you'd see the thread that's in the matching shade, and then all your loopers and your other needle thread would be in the other colour, you know, the navy or whatever it is that you're using. But otherwise, yeah, you can. Okay, quite a few people are talking about buttonholes and things. I used the manual buttonhole instructions that were in my instructions. So I guess maybe if your machine has manual buttonhole instructions, that could be an option. Re the marlo, I use mine as a jumper, and I have the buttons sewn through both edges, so no holes needed. Interesting, yeah. So if you just want to always wear it closed, then you can sew it closed. Excellent idea. Okay, the next question was, do you have any qualifications to teach sewing? So no, I don't have any. My formal qualifications that I studied, obviously I went to school, and then I went to school in Scotland, so you don't do A-levels there, you do Highers. And then I went to university. I actually studied physiotherapy, and I did that. That was my career before I had the shop. I worked in the NHS for 5 years. And so I don't have any professional sewing qualifications or teaching qualifications. But as part of my job, when I was a physiotherapist, I did have to teach people. You know, I had to teach them what was wrong with them. I had to teach classes as part of my job and my work that I did when I did that. And I do just like really teaching people. I like sharing knowledge and sort of interpreting maybe things that they would find hard and helping them to see past that and instill confidence. I think a lot about teaching is, like confidence and self-esteem. But yeah, in answer to your question, no, I don't. Okay, the next one was, what is glue spray you mentioned you used when quilting your coat? So I think this is maybe when I was quilting the Ilford jacket, which I made for I've got this out in answer to another question that's asked later, but maybe the question about the spray glue is in relation to this one. There are other brands that you can get. It is more like a quilting thing, like patchwork and quilting thing. So I think there's maybe brands that are more specific to that you can get, but this is the one we have in the shop anyway, the Prym one. Spray adhesive for temporary gluing of fabric and paper. So you do have to sew with it afterwards, and it doesn't gum up your machine. So I've used it for quilting and for this as well. You just sort of spray it on and it holds the layers together well enough and good enough and long enough that then you can stitch through it. It's not that sticky that it gums up your needle or gums up your machine or anything. And yeah, it's good. It saves doing lots of like safety pins or something. So that is that one. Okay, the next one was, what machine do you use for most of your projects? So at home, I use a Brother Novice VQ2, which is on long-term loan to me from Brother. And there's no like obligation for me to kind of share or post that with them. They do give it to me for free to use, but I don't own it. It is still theirs. I really like it. I think it's amazing. And in the studio, we have Brother Novice 1300s. Which I did used to use before I got the VQ2, which is a sort of more top level machine. So yeah, that's what I use mostly. Okay, somebody's saying, I've just finished my page hoodie and I want to make another. Do you have any matching sweatshirting, jersey and ribbing? So we do have the recycled sweatshirting fabric that was in the page hoodie kit. We have that in quite a few other colourways as well, so you could get a different colourway to the one that was in your kit. If you type in recycled sweatshirting fabric into the website, you'll see the different colours. The only thing that is that we don't have the jersey matching for all of that, but we do have the ribbing. But maybe you could line the hood with something fun. There's a bit of a contrast. Hi Lauren, I've just finished my G&G Sewing Society ginger jeans. Woo, well done. I'm so pleased with the end result. That is amazing. Please could you recommend any alternatives to denim fabric for the pattern? I have made the ginger jeans pattern out of our stretch needle cord, which comes in lots of different colours. I chose pink, obviously, because I'm obsessed with pink. And I wear those trousers all the time. One of my favourite pairs of trousers. So yeah, stretch needle cord works really nice with that. Somebody's saying 505 spray for the adhesive. Okay. Do you use a serger or regular sewing machine more often? I probably use my regular sewing machine the most. But you know, I do use the overlocker a lot as well, especially for finishing off seams. Yeah, I would say probably if you like timed the amount of time I spend on, it's probably the sewing machine more. But that's because I make quite a mix of woven and stretch garments. If you majority make stretch garments, you might use the overlocker more. Okay, the next question was, I want to line a skirt which is in 8 pieces because the fabric is too thin. Do I line each piece separately? It's the 60s pattern needle cord, which I love, and the salida short skirt, which is a true bias skirt. My gut feeling is I'd maybe almost like make 2 separate skirts and then try and attach them at the waistband. I feel like I would do that. I mean, you could if you wanted, cut out the lining, cut out the main fabric, and then before you construct it, sew them together with the wrong size facing within the seam allowance, and then just treat that as one bit of fabric. I feel like that would maybe make the skirt have a bit more structure, because holding 2 layers together quite closely like that tends to give more structure. So it depends whether you would want that or not. Okay, the next one was, let's see if I'm just missing out anything here. Which blouse pattern are you wearing? It's the by hand London Marie blouse shirt. Is it better to overlock seams together or individually? This will depend on what you're making and the fabric that you're using, and whether it's thick or thin. So if the fabric's quite thin, you could probably get away with finishing them off together, because it won't add too much bulk. But if it's quite a thick fabric you're working with, you might want to finish them off separately so you can press them open. But then it can also depend just on what you're making and what's going to happen to that seam afterwards, what's going to feed into it, and whether you would, you'd want to, you functionally need to finish them off separately, or you can get away with finishing them off together. So it just depends. There's no like hard and fast rule there. Okay, the next one was, I'm making the Tamarack jacket View B using the Thelma pre-quilted fabric, and had planned to use the prym anorak snaps as I think you did. However, I'm wanting to make unlined for a lightweight version, and was wondering if you thought the anorak snaps would still be okay to use, as I would usually apply interfacing. So that Thelma quilted fabric, the Mind the Maker one, it's very, very dense, so it's got a really high thread count. It means that the threads are like really, really tight together. So it means it's not really prone to fraying as much, because it's so tightly woven. It generally doesn't really fray. So my feeling is it probably would be okay. What I would suggest that you do is get some scraps and put a snap through just one layer of it, and then attach both sides of it, and then literally just open with these little scraps you've got, open and close it, and really pull on them and stress them like you will do as you're doing your coat up, popping it on and off all the time, and just see what happens. It's also important that the hole that you make to put the snaps on is the smallest that you can get away with for the snap that you're using, or the fastener that you're using, because obviously the bigger the hole, the more likely it is to get stretched over time, and then that's when the whole thing can weaken and fall apart. So yeah, that would be my suggestion there. The next question, there was a couple of questions now about the Sorrento jacket, which was out this month's kit. We do still have a few left of these ones. So somebody was asking about the buttonholes and saying that they appear to be rounded at one end. Is this because it's a thick metal shank? Do you cut away the fabric inside the rounded end, please? So yeah, because if you're using buttons that have got that really thick shank on them, it's called a keyhole button. So it just means that instead of it being a rectangle, one end is rounded a little bit more. So yeah, if your machine has got the function to do that, you can do it. I have in the past used a punch plier to open out the to sort of round it out at the end there. You just have to be really careful that when you use the punch pliers, you don't cut the threads that have made the buttonhole. I've done that before, it's annoying. Otherwise just get like a little pair of scissors and sort of gently try to sort of clip into it. Again, I mean, it might kind of depend on whether you think you're going to wear your jacket closed, because if you're not going to ever wear it closed, then you probably don't need to worry too much about the actual buttonholes. As long as they're there and they sort of look in proportion and they look okay, then it's going to be fine. I wouldn't worry too much about it. If you know that you will close them, then yeah, it will just sort of maintain the kind of shape and sort of disperse the stress and prevent the fabric from becoming a bit distorted if you can do that little rounded end on one bit and sort of trim the threads away. But I wouldn't say it's like a deal breaker. So yeah, and then the other question was on the sorrento. I'm really undecided as to which size to go for in the sorrento jacket. I'm a 34-inch bust and a 30-inch waist, and I want to wear it in the summer, and I hate having to make a toile. I am actually a 34-inch bust as well, and my waist varies between 28 and 30 inches. And this is the size 8 of the pattern, so I'll put it on. You can see how it fits. This is the one that's in the modelled photographs that are on the listing as well, so you can always have a look at that too and sort of see how it's fitting. I feel like this is sort of like a good fit for the summer. I probably wouldn't be able to get like a really chunky cardigan on underneath this, but definitely for like a little sort of lightweight jumper or a blouse is fine. So yeah, it's there. I hope that's useful. I don't want to tell you what to do, I just want to tell you what I did, and then hopefully that's enough information for you to go on. Okay, somebody is saying, I've missed lots of questions here. I want to make a sweatshirt but leave the edges raw. Do you have any fabric that won't fray? Most of our sweatshirting fabric doesn't fray, especially if it's like a fleece back sweatshirting as well. So the recycled sweatshirting, the snuggly one, the cozy colours range, none of them are going to fray. Do the scissors you mentioned come in a left-handed version? So I did ask my supplier about this, and they were going to send me a sample of some. I don't know actually maybe they do. I'll check. I'm still waiting for the sample to come. I think that we don't have them in stock right now, but maybe it was you that asked me before, or somebody asked me if they came left-handed, and I'm trying to find out. I've not had an answer yet. Suggestions for a jacket short to wear over a dress for a wedding day. Probably the Sew Over It Cocoa jacket. It's quite cute, quite simple. I'm about to make the Mitchell trousers in your yellow needle cord. That sounds amazing. For me, the snaps just felt too strong on the Thelma fabric, and with time I felt it would distort the fabric. This was the anorak snaps on the Tamarack unlined. Good points to consider. Hi, I'm making the Elodie dress in your vibrant flower burst fabric. How much pattern matching do you think it needs? The vibrant flower burst, I'm actually wondering if that is this one, the vibrant flower burst. I would say absolutely no pattern matching at all is required on that one. I think you'll drive yourself absolutely nuts and it won't be worth it. In the end, I wouldn't worry about it at all if it was me. Okay, I want a denim sorrento jacket now. It is really nice. There's a few kits left. Snap one up if you want one. Okay, so now on to the fabric and pattern sort of combination requests that were sent in. Could you show any heavyweight stable knits that you have that would be suitable for the Love Notions Metra Blazer? So this one looks a little bit like the Grainline Morris Blazer, which is a sort of pattern that's been around maybe for longer. I was a bit more familiar with that. It's basically just like quite loose fitting, quite big lapels that sort of fall back. It looks like it needs something that's maybe more like a Ponte Roma fabric. I feel like that would be quite stable and hold its shape. Ponte Roma fabrics are mostly polyester. It's quite hard to find ones that aren't really polyester, and they tend to be my experience of like seeing and coming across Ponte Roma fabrics from suppliers, quite often they're like very dark as well. I don't know why it is. It's obviously something to do with how they're made. But I do have a few other suggestions that I think could work that are like a little bit more stable. This is a new one, which feels quite snuggly and quite soft. You could make a cardigan with this as well. It's the Grape Check Cotton blended fabric, and it's 60 cotton and 35 polyester and some elastane as well. So yeah, it does almost sort of feel like a little bit fluffy or cozy. Obviously it's a check, nice purple colours there, so depends if you wanted something that style. In terms of something plain, I thought this could probably work. This is the double faced viscose blended one that we've got, because it does have a little bit more structure to it. So one side's blue, the other side's like a sort of creamy kind of oatmeal colour. So this is the, let me just get the tag and I'll read it out to you. The blue and cream double faced knit fabric. It's 15.70 a metre. It does come in other colourways too. The other one that could potentially work, but I don't know, it would be maybe like a little bit more of kind of a floppy version, because it is quite, can you see that is quite sort of like floppy and drapey, this one. This is the black lightweight soft Ponte fabric. It's modal, polyester and elastane. It does come in other colourways as well. I think we've got a navy and a khaki and a red colour. So yeah, it does feel really nice and soft because it's got a bit of modal in it, and it does make it a bit more floppy. So a few options there. Okay, do you have any spring double gauze? We do have some double gauze. Actually, we've got some. It's right on the shelf beside me here. Actually, I happen to be able to reach it. Sometimes fabrics are further away in the shop. It's hard for me to get them when I'm doing it live. This one's the white lurex pinstriped cotton double gauze fabric, and it also comes in a light green, a light pink and a light blue, and it's really nice. It's like a really fine sort of gold stripe that it's got in it. It's quite light and spring-like. We do have other ones that came in today. They probably won't be online till later in the week, but I caught a glimpse of them earlier. They look really nice, double gauze fabrics that's got a nice sort of subtle embroidery motif on them. So you can watch out for that one later in the week as well. And then, wanted suggestions for a short jacket navy. As in fabric suggestions or a pattern. My pattern suggestion was the Soviet Cocoa. Do you have any? Oh, I've read that one. Okay. Right. On to these ones now. Okay, I like the Sew Liberated Lichen Duster and have the pattern, but I don't like the naturally creased look of linen that so many seem to use when making it. Can you please suggest any of your fabrics that could be used to make this pattern into a spring weight coat? If you want something that's not going to crease, you have to use something that's got synthetic fibres in it, because they don't crease. So, you know, polyesters don't crease. I do have one that's a mix of bamboo and polyester that is kind of billed as being wrinkle free. It actually even says that on the selvage of it. It says something like, yeah, it does, wrinkle free. It does say on the selvage. It comes in lots of colours. This particular one is like a nice sort of tealy colour, but it comes in colours that are maybe like a bit more neutral as well. It's 49 bamboo and 49 recycled polyester and 2% spandex. So a little bit of stretch, but you still class it as a woven. This is really good for trousers as well, but I think because it's quite floppy, it would look quite nice in the Lichen Duster, because that is quite a full sort of long coat, and this would sort of drape nicely, and it's, you know, it's a bit thinner, it's a bit lighter weight. So yeah, good for spring. So that would be my choice, and also it's not going to crease. It's going to fill that brief too. And then the next one was, I like the look of the Grainline Augusta dress shirt pattern. I've not seen these patterns before and wondered if you think a reasonably competent novice sewer could sew them. It's quite a subjective question. I always find these types of questions, but I think yes. I mean, generally Grainline patterns are pretty good, and quite often they also have sew-alongs on their website as well. I've not checked if they definitely have one for the Augusta shirt dress pattern, but quite often they do for their patterns. So that's like an extra sort of in-depth instruction from what comes with the pattern anyway. I'm also wondering about fabrics, and if your Atelier Brunette Viscose or Viscose Twill fabrics would work for a dress in that style. Yes, I think they would. Those types of fabrics would work for a dress in that style. They'd be, you know, I think it's quite a fuller style. So it'd be, you know, nice and light and swishy. It would look good. Okay, the next one, okay, so it was fabric suggestions for a navy jacket. Let me have a think. You could, what could you use? I was going to say the sanded twill, but it is quite stiff. Depends what style of jacket you want, really. We do also have navy linen. That might be nice for a summer wedding, like a lightweight sort of linen jacket. Okay, after you've washed the double gauze, do you iron it? So I did a blog a couple of summers ago that is about working with double gauze and whether you should iron it or not, because it is quite a textured fabric. You're never going to get it totally flat and smooth and get it to stay like that. Some double gauze fabrics tend to sort of have more texture than others. So I would say it depends on the double gauze, but for quite an in-depth explanation on ironing double gauze, I would check out that tips video. So it's on the blog, on the website. If you search double gauze, and look at the blog search results, it'll come up. It's also on my YouTube channel as well. A question for everyone, okay? I am making my first Vogue pattern soon. Do people tend to have to size down with their patterns? I've heard there's lots of ease. Okay, so anybody out there who's made a Vogue pattern, do you on the whole feel like you need to size down? I love the fibre mood double gauze with the triangles. Do you have any pattern suggestions? So also, and sorry to like refer you back to that, also in that blog post I list loads of different pattern suggestions that you can do with double gauze. It's a really versatile fabric. Anything from like little tops and blouses to shirts, dresses look good in double gauze as well. There's loads of things you can do with it, and there's lots of very specific pattern suggestions in that blog post as well. I've only used a Vogue pattern once and found it came out very small. Okay, interesting. I don't size down with Vogue. Okay, so 2 votes for no so far. I'll keep reading them out. We'll see what else people say. Okay, the next one was, could I make the Ilford jacket with Mind the Maker quilted fabric? What about fastenings? So I would say you could make it with the Mind the Maker quilted fabric. And about the fastenings, I think you would be fine because the centre front and the Ilford is got two sides of fabric to it. Like, you know, you sort of fold it back. So there's like a double thickness of fabric there, which is what you're going to end up with, like similar thickness to what I had when I made my lined Tamarack jacket, and I put anorak snaps in that, and it's totally fine. So yeah, I think you would be fine and use the anorak snaps as fastenings. Okay, the next one was summer blouse patterns that are not too oversized or super fitted, so kind of in the middle and good to wear with jeans. My top choices here that I could think of, things that I've made as well, are the chalk and notch wren blouse, which is really cute. It's got a sort of rounded neck and buttons down the front, or the fibre mid normal blouse. Also nice. They've both got quite big sleeves though, so if you didn't want sleeves that were as big as that, the Avid Seamstress, the blouse pattern is quite sort of simple and a little bit more, it's not like sculpted, but it's just a bit more neat, a bit more fitted. I have 1.5 meters of Liberty lawn in a directional fabric. What can I make it into? This is really going to depend on what size you make and whether you would be able to get the bodice, or the front and back bodice side by side on the fabric. And if you're making a size that doesn't allow you to do that, then you're probably going to have to make something that's sleeveless, or maybe that's sleeveless but you could sort of extend it into a sleeve with maybe like a ruffle or something, because you probably have enough fabric to do that at the side. So I would say something quite simple. For example, the Helen's Closet Ashton top is quite a simple one. There's a few different sleeve options, or you can just make it sleeveless as well. You might, again, depending on what size you're making, you might get away with making the Helen's Closet Gilbert blouse as well, or the ones that I suggested before. The fibre mid normal blouse doesn't use that much fabric, I found. Or the Avid Seamstress blouse pattern. Again, it depends on what size you're making, so don't want to be like too specific because that will have quite an impact. Okay, so more votes on the Vogue pattern. I did size down one for Vogue 1821, but it's a dress with lots of ease. It depends on who designs the Vogue pattern. Often they are smallish. I've made loads of Vogue and other big over the years. They know what they are doing with design ease, so unless you want to remove design and wearing ease, don't size down. My Vogue pattern came up too big. I stick to indie patterns now. I like Vogue because I'm a D cup and they do custom fit for different cup sizes. I've never had to size down. Can you explain what double gauze fabric is? It sounds nice. The double part is that it's 2 layers of fabric, so it's two very fine layers of fabric that get invisibly stitched together, so you don't really see the stitching that's holding them together. And the gauze is referring to the looseness of the weave, so it tends to be quite loose weave fabric that's very thin and 2 layers of it that get stitched together, so double gauze. I think mine was V1777 address. Okay, good to know. Would an Ogden cami and a voile be okay for a summer pyjama top? Yes, I think it would. Will I need to size up? No, I don't think so. What is the coolest fabric you could wear on a heat wave night? I would probably say like a voile, or yeah, probably a cotton voile or a cotton lawn. It's nice and lightweight as well. The ease aspect, some very interesting, okay, Itha Camaven Jazz has some very interesting posts on her Instagram account, mainly in relation to trousers, but the principle relates to other garments as well. Okay, good, another good recommendation there. Okay, the next one was fabrics for the Merchant and Mills Harleen dungarees and Eve trousers. I'm really sorry, I've missed looking out fabric to show you in relation to this one of all the fabric I've brought out, but I did make notes on some suggestions, so I'm sorry I don't have anything to show you for this one. We definitely have some denims that would work good for that. We've got some they're called rigid denims, but they're not really that rigid. It's just that they don't have stretch in them, which is why they're called rigid. So if you wanted like a denim look, you could go for that. We've got the Cone Mills selvage denim as well, which is the one that I used for the denim jacket, which would work nice with it as well. Or the sanded twill, which we do in a navy and a black and a nice sort of stone colour. I think that would also work really nice as well. Hold the structure, be nice and crisp and sort of press really nicely. For the Eve trousers, you could use either our enzyme linen or our Sorrento linen. I'd actually brought some Sorrento linen out to recommend for another one. I've got a pair of Eves in navy Sorrento and I wear them a lot in the summer. They're really nice. The Sorrento actually has a little bit of stretch in it as well, so it makes them super comfy, but they look really good in the Merchant and Mills Eves. And I do have our enzyme linen in Merchant and Mills Eves as well, which work nice. Okay, more tips on choosing a size here. Okay, if you pick size on your bust measurement, just check the cup size, as if you have a bigger full bust than upper bust, then the pattern will be too big around the shoulders. Good to know. Seersucker and double gauze, bet they be cool on a hot summer night. Yes, indeed. Are you stocking the Cone Mills denim all the time? So we do have stock of the non-stretch Cone Mills denim, but I don't have any stretch Cone Mills denim, and I won't be able to get any more for a while because, again, I have to buy it in significantly large quantities and I don't have the capacity to do that at the moment. I'm making the Eves in Rami. Yeah, that also sounds good. Okay, the next one is fabric for the Hovea jacket unbelted other than the Thelma fabric for spring, summer evenings. So I think here you definitely need to be more options if you quilt your own fabric like what I did here. So this was one of the 7 berry fabrics that I used here, and I quilted it with just some plain cotton poplin. But you could definitely just do sort of any combination of 2 kind of medium to lighter weight cottons if you want. You could even use lawn if you wanted on both sides, which would make it a little bit lighter still. This is more sort of medium weight. I think you could also combine viscose linens as well. We've got some really beautiful printed viscose linens in at the moment, which you could quilt with a plain viscose linen on the back, and I think that would look really nice. And then my personal preference is probably, I would say, stick to the cotton batting, the cotton wadding, just because it will be a little bit more breathable. It's more expensive, but I feel like if you're wanting it to be for the spring summer, I would avoid using the polyester just because it can be a little bit more sweaty. It's not as breathable as the cotton will be. So yeah, that would be my suggestion there. If you wanted plain, you could use any of our enzyme linens or our Sorrento linens as well. as a plain, that they would all be really nice for that. So yeah, that's my suggestion there. Okay, the next one is, what time are we on? Yeah, we're slowly running out of time, but I'll get through all of these. Pants for a woven jogger style pant. Patterns for a woven jogger style pant / trouser. Elastic waist and elastic cuffs. So the Made by Ray Luna pants is good for this one. You can actually use that for stretch and woven fabrics, but they look really nice, and I would say they basically are like a woven style jogger. A fabric to make the free range slacks. I think is that a Sew House 7 pattern? I think they were just like a sort of gathered waist style trouser as well. The Sorrento linen fabric for that too. It's $18.90 a metre, comes in lots of different colours. That particular one's sort of the grey, but it's generally like a regular stock item that we have, so even if we've not got the colour at the moment, just either email us or request a stock notification. We'll let you know when it's back again. I think you could also use the, oh, I'm about to have a fabric avalanche beside me here. I think you could also use the plain viscose linens that we've got as well for the free range slacks. This is the accrue one. And I am actually just finishing off a pair of Friday Pattern Company Saguaro trousers in this. I just need to put the elastic in the waistband. But this comes in loads of really nice colours. It's such a lovely fabric to wear in the summer. I love it. Okay, the next one was fabrics for the Stasia dress. So we've got some really nice viscose jerseys that would be good for that. These are some new ones that we've got here, but we do have other new ones that I showed a few weeks ago. So if you just search viscose jersey on the website, you can see lots of different options. But this particular one here is the Abstract Onyx Viscose jersey fabric. And it's nice and, yeah, it's nice and like lightweight and drapey, and sort of similar to the fabric that we used when we did the Stasia dress as a kit, so it'll make the skirt really nice and swishy, which looks lovely. And then this one here is the Rippled Dots Viscose jersey fabric's lovely and smooth, this one. I love the bright blue colour in that as well, it's nice and summery. So a few choices there, or you could use those bamboo cotton jerseys that I showed you at the start as well. Do you think the dotty denim fabric in the Archer kit would work for the Tilly and the Buttons Rosa shirt? Wary there are more seams, so might be harder to navigate the embroidered dots. I feel like maybe it's a little bit more sort of on the lighter weight side. Actually, if you were making the Rosa as a shirt as opposed to a shirt dress, I think it would be okay. I feel like maybe for a dress it might be too much on the lighter weight side, but yeah, if you're making it just as a shirt, I think it should be fine. And it's not, the dots aren't too bad, I think like I didn't even really notice them that much when I was making the Archer. You just kind of sew past them, they're not too bad. Okay, the next one was simple shirt patterns for the candy pink floral cross stitch fabric. That is this one here. It is quite sort of heavily embroidered, quite dense. I think the closet core Cali would be nice in this, or if you I'm never always sure when people say that they want I feel like sometimes, no, I'm not, sorry, I'm getting mixed up. What I was going to say was sometimes when people say shirt or blouse, I don't know if they mean they want buttons or not, because I feel like to me shirts and blouses both have buttons, but I know sometimes like other things can get called a shirt or a blouse. Also maybe depending on whether you like live in the UK or you live somewhere else, like the different terms mean different garments, don't they? Anyway, I hope that's inspiring. The closet core Kelly. Okay, the next one was, I made the Zadie kit and I want to make more, but in a fabric more suited to winter. Any ideas? So I feel like because the Zadie is quite, it's quite sort of loose and kind of voluminous, especially when you wrap it around, you don't really want anything too thick or stiff because I think it would feel too bulky. So I think really you're going to have to go for something that just sort of generally feels a bit thicker, is maybe not really associated with like summer as much, like a linen or something. So I think you could use that bamboo twill that I showed you before. It just feels a bit thicker, arguably like a little bit more of a sort of autumny winter fabric. The other option, what else did I say? Oh, the smooth drape twill. Did I bring some of that over? Where did it go? here. The smooth drape twill just feels like a little bit thicker as well, but because it's tencel, it will be floppy. And I've made the Burnside bibs out of this before, and it worked well. They're quite full too, and it just sort of physically feels a bit thicker. So it's also nice. And then the other one that I was thinking for the zeri, I wasn't sure whether maybe like a non-stretch needle cord might work. I don't know, has anybody made the zeri in a non-stretch needle cord? This one is quite fine, so I don't think it would, even though, I don't think it would like be too stiff or bulky, because it is quite a floppy one. This is one of the Dashwood ones, the navy cotton needle cord. Definitely not the stretch needle cord, it's quite stiff. I don't know if that would work with the zeri, but the non-stretch needle cord should be okay. Okay, so the next one was tapered leg trouser pattern and fabric recommendations. I think that the Eve is a nice classic, as we were mentioning before, the Merchant Mills Eve with the Sorrento linen or the enzyme linen. Can you show us the 2 new Tencel lawn green floral fabrics? Sure. This is them here. We did have these before, and then they went out of stock, and then we've kind of got them back again, so they've made their way into the new in section, but they're not totally brand new. They're very lightweight, very fine, very, very soft, because they're tencel, and tencel tends to be really quite soft. But I have seen, I'm pretty sure it was this one, somebody, when we had it before, must have been last year, somebody made the Friday Pattern Company Davenport dress out of this. I can remember seeing that on Instagram, I'm sure, and it looks really nice. So yeah, it's going to be good for patterns that have got details like ruffles or gathers, or anything where you want a little bit of more swish and movement. So yeah, this particular one is the Emerald Stylized Floral Fan Tencel Lawn Fabric, 100% tencel. And then the other one is like pretty similar in its base cloth, as in like how sort of fine and thin it is. It is the Floral Trail Tencel Lawn. So the other one's kind of got more like limey, greeny, yellowy colours in it, whereas this is just green and like a kind of creamy colour here. But they're both very similar in terms of their sort of weight and feel and softness and drape and swish. So yeah, both really beautiful fabrics. The next one was fabrics for the Tammy Fibermood, the Fibermood Tammy dress. This is a dress that has got a seam in the bodice that is like a V, and then coming out of the V as a ruffle. So it's quite a striking, visually quite a sort of striking garment. It looks really cool. And I would say you've got a choice here on how much you want that ruffle to kind of stand out and hold its shape. So you could either go for a cotton lawn, like the cotton lawns that I was showing you at the beginning, and that will hold the shape of the ruffle a bit more. So it will not, it's not going to be like this, but it's going to kind of like stick out a little bit more. Or if you go for a viscose or a Viscose Twill, or like tencel, like that one I just showed you there, then the ruffle's going to sort of flop a little bit more, and it will hang down, like even as it comes down the V here, and the lawn, the ruffle will sort of stick like this, but then with the tencel or the viscose, it will sort of droop down a little bit like this, and then the skirt section of it will be a bit more swishy. So I think sort of deciding on what kind of like look you want to go for is going to help with that one. Fabric for a wedding reception for the Closet Core Elodie. And then also somebody asked a summer dress pattern for a wedding guest, preferably A-line. So I mean the Closet Core Elodie is a wrap dress, but it does have, the skirt is quite full, and if you use a fabric that's a little bit stiffer, like that's a linen, say for example, then it will hold the A-line shape of the skirt a little bit more. So I do have this is the one that was falling down earlier because it's quite a floppy roll. I think this one is beautiful, and it would make a really lovely dress for a wedding. It's the Inkwell linen fabric. It's $16.80 a metre, so you could definitely use this for the Elodie, and it would hold the shape of the skirt a little bit more because it's linen, it just holds its structure and shape. It's not got any viscose in it. Or then what was the other question? Oh yeah, the other two that I was thinking would be good. I just think these are lovely, would be lovely for a wedding, are these really bright ones here, which I think I was showing these last week as well. So this is the neon Neon Blurred Blooms, $14.90, and this is the Vibrant Flower Burst Viscose fabric. So they're both just really colourful, quite sort of like larger scale kind of abstract prints. I don't think you need to worry about pattern matching them, and I think they would just look really lovely and nice and striking for a wedding guest outfit. Okay, the next one was, would you be able to recommend a fabric for the simple sew crossover back blouse, please? This is quite a simple top with grown on sleeves, and then the back of it just has like a section that, yeah, it kind of crosses over and there's a button fastening at the top. So for that version of the pattern, it suggests fabrics that have got a little bit more structure to them. Cotton lawn would be good. The ones that I did pick out here were these nice stripes, which come in lots of colours, and there's also a pinstripe version as well. It's a cotton linen, so the combination of cotton and linen does mean it holds its shape and structure a bit more, so that would be nice. And then I think this one should be okay as well. This might actually have viscose in it, but I don't know, I think it might be okay. It is a linen viscose, but I think it should be all right. And these beautiful stripes are lovely in texture. They're woven into the fabric. This is the, where's my tag gone? Indigo chunky woven stripe linen viscose fabric, or something that's quite heavily embroidered. It'll hold its shape really nicely as well. And this comes in other colourways too. It's the blue sunflower embroidered border cotton fabric. And then I was actually thinking, because it's got the border on it, I wonder if you could like somehow like cut a section of that and then kind of put that on where the crossover bit is. Maybe try and incorporate it somehow. Be nice. And then, okay, the last two that I've got on here are, can you please recommend a very light jersey for the sleeves on a Friday Pattern Company Adrian blouse? I'll make the bodice out of a t-shirt sort of jersey, but I fancy something lighter for the sleeves since they're so full. I feel like I would just go for a lighter weight jersey and make the whole thing out of that. I don't know how it would look having like two weights of jersey. I think it might look like a little bit disjointed. But my suggestions were, where have we gone? To either go for, we've got some, well, if you wanted patterned, the bamboo jerseys that I was showing before, we do have some plain bamboo mixed jerseys too. This is the Deep Lake one, but the bamboo makes it floppy, so you know, it's the fullness of the sleeves of that Adrian blouse are gonna, or top are gonna sort of, you know, hang really nicely. Or if you want them to sort of hang even more and not hold too much of a full shape, then the Tencel jerseys are good for that. And again, they come in lots of lovely, beautiful plain colours. This is a new colour. It's the cornflower colour Tencel modal jersey. It's 1680 a metre. This is beautiful. This would probably be my choice if I was making the Adrian blouse, because it's so lovely and soft. You can see how floppy it is. You can see how really floppy and swishy it is. So that fuller style of the sleeve, it would just hang really nicely in that. Okay, the next one is, would you recommend a maxi dress that doesn't, wait a minute, I have a fabric question if that's okay. What would you recommend for a maxi dress that doesn't crease? I'm making for a friend who travels a lot and she wants something she can shove in a bag and pull out that is good to go, and I'm a bit stuck. The styles she's shown me look like woven fabrics, but I'm wondering if I'd at least need something with a bit of stretch to try and avoid wrinkles. If you want something that's not going to crease, as I was saying before, you have to use something that's got synthetic fibres. That's either like a polyester mix or is like a polyester print. That stuff just doesn't crease. It's quite hard to sew with, and it's quite sweaty to wear as well. So you kind of have to weigh it up with that, really. You know, yeah. So I tend not to really have, for a maxi dress, I don't really buy polyester prints. I do have some polyester fabrics in the shop, but on the whole, I try if I can to get them either mixed with something else, or sometimes I do get ones that are polyester, but they're maybe like a bit different. Like for example, the quilted Thelma fabric is polyester, but you know, that's like something a little bit different. But I think really, if you have a look around for a polyester print somewhere, you get a nice one. They come in nice prints and it won't crease. Okay, the last couple that I've got here are, I have some double-sided viscose knit. That was the one I was showing you earlier here, this one. And I want to make a nice jumper, but not a classic sweatshirt pattern. Any interesting jumper / top patterns I could make. I've not had sorry, I ended up running out of chance to have like a really good think about this one, but a couple that I was thinking of that you could have a look at are the named Sloan sweater, which is a little bit different because it's got a dart in it, which I think would still be okay in that fabric. It might be that maybe you cut away where the dart is. I can't remember how they make the dart. It might be that the way you cut it out is not like the dart is a big flappy bit inside anyway. It might just be like a sort of weird triangle thing you cut out, but that's like something a bit different because it does have that dart. And then there is also a jumper or like a sort of looser style kind of top jumper pattern in the new Fibre Mood magazine as well. But I couldn't find where our Fibre Mood magazines were when I came over, so I'm sorry I couldn't quickly look at what the name of it is. But if you look at my blog post that I did, the last one I did on the most recent Fibre Moods magazine, it's the last pattern that's in the magazine. I can't think what it's called. Somebody's asking, is the inky blue linen on the website yet? Yeah, it is. I love your blouse, lovely material, colours are lovely, thank you. I plan to make the tammy with long sleeves, so interesting. Yeah, sure. I love that blue bamboo twill. What's the best kind of garment to make with that kind of fabric? So trousers are good. The Merchant of Mills Eve, the Closet Core Mitchell trousers would be good, or the Zadie jumpsuit. We were suggesting it for the Friday Passion Company Lichen Duster as well. Like lots of things. It's a nice sort of thick opacity. You know, as in it's opaque, but it drapes really nicely. It moves around and it doesn't crease because it's got polyester content. So yes, a good all-rounder fabric. Okay, the last one was shirt pattern recommendations for the Neo Blurred Blooms viscose fabric. That was that one that I was showing earlier. So my suggestions were the Chalk and Notch Wren. You could do it for that. The Archer. I'm losing my train of thought now. The Grainline Archer would also be nice in that. Or yeah, you could what was it? No, it was a shirt pattern again. Okay, so if it's a shirt, I'm thinking about something with buttons. And then again, the Avid Seamstress, the blouse pattern. And I keep saying the same ones, but I'm hoping that if you like see other patterns out there that are similar to those styles, then you can, you would know that it kind of suits that as well. There are just so many patterns out there now. Like I do find it quite overwhelming to kind of know what all the patterns are. And I'm sorry if I feel like I end up sort of suggesting the same things a lot of the time. It's hard because we stock a range of patterns in the shop, and my mind is like very much always in tune with them. But obviously I know there's hundreds, thousands of different patterns out there that you can get now. The honey blouse, yeah, another good one. I love the honey blouse. You could use that with this fabric too. So thank you everybody for joining me tonight. A very busy hour of lots of questions and showing you lots of things. So yeah, it'll be on YouTube tomorrow as always. You can watch it back on Instagram. If you just joined recently, you can watch it back on Instagram. I'll save it now as I end the video. And I'll hopefully see you next week. I was sort of thinking ahead to the Instagram lives coming up. Over Easter, I'll probably be a couple of weeks that I'm not around. And then we do have, unless you've been living under a rock, then we do have and you've not heard me talk about it yet, we do have our birthday event in 2 weeks time, and 2 weeks on Saturday, and I do still have so much to do for that. So if I start freaking out like closer to the time, it might be that I have to miss an Instagram live because I'm just like getting ready for all of that. But yeah, that'll be exciting. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening and you have a really good week. And send me your questions in the meantime. I'll add them on the list for next week, and I'll see you soon. Bye.